The Star.
Yeah, y'all already know. Seven the pan. That dude Fizz on the beat. Yeah. We live in entertainment. Sound change. Crown the kings, homie. This is where it get ill. About to have the tip off live as a tip drill. From the court to the diamond, to the track, to the big skin flying around the field. Starting five forever, keeping it real. If it matters in the world of sports, jeans and long sleeves, they taking no shorts. Hot to death, oh yes. These are the sports podcasts live as a pros course. Biz market wave, the starting five goes off. No matter who you cheer for, emotions out the window. They analyzing with clear thoughts. They take it way deeper than the boys ever. No longer got any use for the four letters. The latest news, score stats and the view from the sideline. Ain't no guideline, it's just the truth. Yeah, no need to dig for a parting line. It's always in season. The people starting five. We going in on three. Run the baseline, starting five. Get it. We got what you need. If it's sports news you see, we don't waste time. We talking cause we live it. We got what you need. We going in on three. Run the baseline, starting five. Get it. We got what you need. And y'all know me, seven sign. I'm the illest cat stick. I got what you need.
Each and every week, we claim we got what y'all need. This week, we're giving y'all more of our point of view than what we may think you need. This is going to be a show where you just going to hear us. It's your boy, the mayor, that DJ named Ace5, your mom's favorite fat guy, all the way from deepest, darkest Africa. And we back with the newest episode of the Starting Five. As always, we need y'all to hit the link tree that I'm going to have to eventually show in the comments. But as TJ's pointing, right up in that top corner.
Oh. Hey, yo.
But we wasn't pointing at you, cuzzo. We'll get to you in a second. TJ, you know what to do.
What's up, y'all? As recently stated, feeling fresh as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Feeling good. Vibes is good. Good weekend, even though the weather is a little bit shitty out here. I'm in good spirits. A lot of good things, positivity going on. Hope y'all having a great week. Great weekend. Big things happening this weekend in sports. You got the playoffs, you got boxing, a lot of shit popping off. And hope y'all enjoying yourselves.
Yeah, word up. Because you came into a deep topic today that we're going to give some points of views on. But first and foremost, let me shout you out. This is one of my younger cousins, more like second cousins, but like really younger. I could give you his government, but I'm gonna just go by what he goes by on the End of Regulation podcast, which I need all of y'all to go support the End of Regulation podcast. These fucking dudes, yo, I tell you, they get, and it's not because it's family, but these cats get at least 2 to 3 listens each episode per week from me because their chemistry is dope, absolutely fucking funny. You could tell they're high as shit when they're making their comments. The homie Low will command the show and be like, yo, check it out. Make everybody stop talking. Get his points out. And then my cuz right here makes the dad joke that ruins it all. It's Shake from the End of Regulation. What's good, kid?
Yo, I'm a dad now. Gotta get my jokes in where I can.
Facts. What's good, man? But I gave a little brief. Tell the people who you are and what your thing is about, man.
Damn, yo. All right, so real talk. I'm gonna keep it as honest as possible. My cousin didn't tell me this is what was happening. I got late. I'm not prepared. I'm prepared.
Nah, so it's my bad because you didn't make it clear to me if you wanted to be on or watch the show.
I thought I was watching you, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, you watching now. You are watching now, bro.
Yeah, I'm here. Like, and I'm so you backstage. I was like, oh, that's fire. Boom.
Yeah, my bad. But I did tell you though, as we talk every week to everybody, anybody and everybody is welcome to come on the platform at any time. So my bad for the sneak attack. I should have said.
I'm here with it though.
All right, let's go. Well, let the people know who you are.
Everybody listening, everybody calls me Shake. He knows me by Tyler. I'm not giving y'all the other half. I'm one. It's like 8 of us now, but I am 1/3 of the co-host collective of End of Regulation podcast. You can find us on all streaming platforms at End of Regulation with a 0, not an O on Twitter. That's really it. I'm a newer podcaster. We're just kind of started about a year ago. Podcast was, in the works of being created for about 2 years. I'm a chef by trade, and I'm that man's cousin, so you already know how that goes.
Where we took, definitely at least 2 years of building, because it was at least 3 years maybe when your dad put you on the phone with me. Yeah. And then we talked again later, and then y'all just took off.
It was crazy. And I spoke to my dad about it, and he was like, I was telling him, I was like, yo, because I know he knows, like, he's cool. He had ties, like, whether it be Wendy or whoever he knows. So I'm like, yo, like, what are some things? He's like, yo, you know who does that? Damn. And I'm like, for real? And it's so crazy how just because of there's a small age gap between us, that had that not been something that wasn't something I was privy to. So it's like having it being a passion of mine is something I wanted to get into, and not knowing that it's somebody that I can reach out and touch.
Facts.
That did that. It was good for me. And then, like, knowing the experience that you had, and then being able to apply those things, and just being able, when I, got questions or feedback, whatever have you, to kind of get that from somebody who, just wants to see you see you progress, and not really want anything from you. It was definitely positive in the beginning of our journey.
Yeah, no, facts. And I'm a veteran in this shit. I'm not ashamed of touting that. I'm not a cocky dude, but I'm not ashamed of touting that. I'm 8 years in the game. This year starts 8 years of podcasting, 7 years of the starting 5, the real starting 5. Because I found, when I searched my name on YouTube, when I searched the starting 5 on YouTube, I found about 2 or 3 different other starting 5s. Now, let's keep it real. If y'all ever want to get with the real starting 5, we are more than happy to help welcome you.
Yo, so real quick, for anybody who, your listeners might not know, and then, like, people who I just sent the link to my podcast group, a couple group chats I'm in, so hopefully we get some more people coming into it. But where does the starting 5 start from?
You want to know our journey? No problem.
Yeah.
So it all started back in 2014. Shout out to my good brother LG. He hit me up like, yo, I want to do a podcast. And I was like, yo, what's a podcast? Because I wasn't aware at the time. Okay. And he was like, oh, it's like radio, but not. It's like talk radio, but not. All right, cool. You mentioned radio. I always wanted to do radio. Let's do this shit. So we started out as Talking My Team. It was just a football show. He's a Cowgirls fan. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And
worst show ever.
Nah. It was fuck you. It was a dope show, and how we did it was good. We covered, and when we first started off. Actually, it was the year that Jadeveon Clowney came out in the draft.
I thought he was about to be him, and
yeah. Yeah, when we thought he was gonna be that guy, and then he's now just a veteran that's touring the league, which is good. It's like being a working actor. You're still in the league. You're still getting a check. It's all good. So
he's got a job.
Yeah. So we
he went from being that guy to that guy.
Yeah. So we started off in that journey like that. We was doing all solid football related show. I always had in my brain, yo, we need to expand. We need to expand. This Talking My Team name isn't latching on. So we changed it to the fourth quarter. Once we got to the fourth quarter, play on words, we started to actually kind of tail off in how we were recorded. This is where I talk about how consistency in this podcasting game, like I told you yesterday, TJ's heard me mention it many a time, but consistency in this game is key.
Okay.
So we kind of fell off, but in that beginning, in that first year, we already expanded to a network. We had Just the Facts, a basketball show by my man, Coach Casey. And then we had The Rundown, which was a baseball show by some kid that he knew, but consistency fell short with them.
Rundown.
The Rundown was 3 episodes, and then it was done because the kid was in college.
And then you said, dude, it didn't work out.
Yeah, because he was in college trying to do the show and trying to finish school. He went and focused on school.
In a bit of a pickle there, huh?
Pretty much. So he did the smart move, finish school, and do that. My man, Coach Casey, he ended up getting a better job, a better high school coaching job, and it became a little bit more too time consuming. So he came in, did like a bunch of shows, then stopped for a little while. Then came back when the next NBA season, did like 6 or 7 shows, stopped for a little while. I am the person, and this is no shots at them because mad love to all of them, but I'm the person that I don't chase. So if you want to be a part of this, you got to want to do it.
Guys, we're not chasing nobody. We be out of breath.
Well, that too. That too. My fat ass hasn't run since I've been on the football field, and that's been a decade ago. But so as we transitioned out of that, and my man Lance started a clothing line on top of that while he was trying to finish his degree, my man JP came through. And he was like, yo, I want to do a radio show. The opposite. I got the podcast already. I got the platform. We're on the streaming platforms already connected to Apple, all of that. Yo, let's just do this over here. All right, cool. No problem. Let me talk to my man LG. I say, yo, Lance, let's do this. I'm going to run with the podcast thing. You do your clothing line thing. He was like, bet, no problem. So once me and JP transitioned, it took us like a week to find a name. We wanted to figure something that was sports related, but also could kind of fit in other realms, hence where the name The Starting Five came from.
Okay.
And then it's been on and running from there. The journey within that has been through multiple different recording styles. I can tell you that off the air. Just
not even to cut you off. Mm-hmm. This is cool. Mm-hmm. Like the way this is set up, just the fact that I'm doing this from my phone, so I assume you guys might be doing it the same way. This setup is dope because you can literally, like, this is a great way to bring in guests or whatever have you, just because like it's easily accessible. So what is this called? StreamYard. Shout out to them. Wherever y'all found that, whoever put y'all on.
They don't pay us, we pay them, so no shout outs to StreamYard. But yeah, nah, they fuck them because this is why they take care of us, but I pay them. But yeah, you know, the journey is just transitioned along to where we've been trying to get a solid 5 to round out a starting 5. Plus, we've been trying to get women co-hosts. Shout out to our homegirl Katara. She was on for about a year with us, but then got busy in personal life and work, so she fell off. JP is going to make his way back on the show next week, but he was going through some personal things recently, so he's been away for a couple months. But TJ stepped in about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and has fell in love with it. Has fell in love with it now ever since.
That's what's up.
And so now he's my regular. Pause. And the brother Jamal, who's
what you getting?
I say he's my regular. That's why I said that. But the brother Jamal, who's in the comments right now,
where can I see those at? I can see the comments.
Not on your phone because it'll kick you out.
Oh, okay.
And you know, it's good I asked you that because I wanted to send it to another group chat, but I didn't know if I left the streaming browser.
Yeah, you get kicked out and you have to come back in again.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no. I generally host. I'm hosting it on my MacBook, you know. But
okay,
I'm outside. This is how, as y'all like to say, this is how we give it up on the show. We usually smoking cigars, chilling, chopping it up, talking shit, and we're about to lead off the shit talk with some NBA playoffs.
Okay, let's get to it.
Now, where we at right now? We are up to game 3s, right?
Yeah, the Bucks and Celtics were playing earlier. I don't know how that turned out though.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna pull do the screen share.
How we expected to, you know, like we can look at that series, and if like I don't know if you guys are familiar. My man Sam D has a podcast. It's the Sam D podcast. He does sports podcasting, and he did a interesting breakdown of wait, what changed? Oh, you shared
the screen share.
My fault, y'all. I'm new with this. Every time something new pop up on the screen, I'm like, oh, that's fire. Now I can speak talk on our show, and we'll be like, oh, we got to show you. We're going to show y'all. We'll be showing them nothing.
That's why Low always like, well, for the listeners, they can't see it, but
What was I about to say? If he was saying what was it? It was either game 1 or game 2 where the Celtics took more threes than they did twos.
Because they can't score in the paint.
Right. I don't think that's not a long-term formula. But if it seems like they might try to live or die by that though. Because it was like 2 games.
You got 2 7-footers, bro, with Brook Lopez and Giannis in the paint. I don't know how you expect to get inside. And then you got Bobby Portis at 6'9", 6'10". That's a lot of trees, man. I don't know how you get into the bucket with that kind of length. Pause.
And in game one, Giannis Giannis let them know. Giannis let them know early, like people were saying, I ain't no KD. You ain't gonna be able to just push me around each and any way you want.
Right.
So yeah, you're not gonna be able to make it easy in the paint against them. So unfortunately, even though the series is now tied 1-1, and currently where the game is in the third quarter. So podcast listeners, the game will be done by the time this is uploaded on the stream. Right now, the Bucks are up 66-61. So let's see how that turns out. But I still like the Bucks in this series, CJ.
I like the Bucks in this series because they have experience. They are crown holders. They are protecting their ring right now. You know what I'm saying? They've been there. They've been through the adversity of getting the first one. This is not new to them. They've faced these challenges before. They've got a major player out in Chris Middleton who could help them extremely. He's an all-star. But as you see by game 1, they blew the doors off of Boston in Boston for game 1. Yeah. So they stole the game that they needed to steal, even though Boston came back and tied the game up. The series up 1-1. They're in Milwaukee, and they're in Milwaukee this game and the next game. If they win these 2 games, it's going to be 5 or 6, and it's over. It's over.
So you're taking
I'm taking the Bucks because Milwaukee's been playing like they're hungry for another ring all season long. Giannis has been playing like he needs to match his other ring finger with a ring.
And last week we actually picked the Bucks in 7. I think almost all 3 of us.
So you guys got to be in the Bucks in 7.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
how do you feel about it?
I think the Bucks come out of that series and anyway, just off the experience thing that you guys were saying. I don't know if it goes 7 games, but I really think if the Celtics threes are hitting, the Bucks are going to lose because it doesn't seem it seems like they're going to take that game they're going to take those threes. They're okay with the fact that they're shooting more threes than twos, and if they're getting it and they're hitting them, do the Bucks have shooters to compete with that? I don't.
Right. So you live and die by the 3 if you're the Celtics.
Yeah, and it's like they have the scorers to play that game. You know what I mean?
Definitely. They have shooters, but they don't have better shooters than the Bucks.
Yeah, they have scores. Shake said it right. They got scorers over shooters.
Is this a live box right now?
Yeah.
So,
but yeah,
just look at that percentage wise, right? The Bucks is what, third quarter, and they've taken what, 23 3-pointers? I mean, not the Bucks, the Celtics.
Celtics, yeah.
20,
only made 5.
That ain't gonna get it.
It's not.
That ain't gonna get it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do better than that, man.
And the Bucks only hit 4 out of 21, but let's keep it real. That's not truly the Bucks game.
Right.
That's not truly the Bucks game. So I'm not too concerned with the 3 from the Bucks, to be honest with you.
No, because the Bucks are gonna get their points in the paint with Brook Lopez, with Giannis, you know what I'm saying, with Drew Holiday. And you have to put bodies on these dudes. And like I said, size-wise, they don't match up. The Celtics don't have the height like the Bucks do. It's just they just don't.
Both the wins down low, they do a good job.
They do, but I mean, bodies on the boards is where it matters at.
Fair.
Next up, we're gonna hit the second round Sixers, who decided to decided to try to make it a series and beat the Heat the other night, 99-79, to make this series a 2-1 Heat lead thus far.
Harden still didn't show up. Harden still did not show up, bro. 17 points.
Bro, what
That's not going to get it.
Years ago, the way that he plays basketball is not sustainable long term to win championships, and it's not. Bro,
listen, if you counting on Danny Green to get you 21 points a night in this series, it's a wrap.
Oh, Danny Green?
It's a wrap.
I agree. And as we declared on the last episode, Joel had to make his Phantom of the Opera appearance.
For them to be somebody.
Yo, did you see Tobias Harris line? He scored 9 points.
Looking at it now, yeah. And that's and Shake, that's the question we asked last week. Wherefore out there Tobias Harris? That nigga got paid, said peace out.
They was talking all like cash about what's the name? Thibault? Where's he at?
No, Thibault's not a scorer, bro. He's a defensive player. He's a defensive player. He's not a scorer.
But who is he locking up though? Who's been locked up? They was putting him like top 5. He should have been defensive player of the year type stuff. Let Philly fans tell you. Who is he locking up?
Well, let's see. What position was Thibault?
Thibault's a 2-3.
Okay, so I doubt he would have been defending Kyle Lowry, but if he did, I mean, Kyle Lowry had no points, played 23 minutes.
The gas nigga.
But yeah, looking at the
Butler
Heat
had 33.
Line, yeah, and looking at the Heat stat line now, like that 33 obviously wasn't enough when everybody else kind of shit the bed except
that's what happened. Everybody shit the bed.
They shit the bed because they couldn't go to the rack because they were scared of Embiid.
Right.
But Embiid not going to be able to be the physical presence he's been all season with that orbital.
Bam has to step his game up, period. Bam is a threat inside and outside, just like Embiid is a threat inside and outside. And I didn't watch this game, so I don't know what the foul situation was. That takes precedence in all of this. Like, if you can get 2 quick fouls with somebody, you're going to be non-effective for that game, period.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the way Joel Embiid has been playing this year, I don't think he's going to allow the facial injury to really play a factor. I like the way his stat line looked just a second ago. Like, it looked like that was like a warm-up game for him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that dude plays pretty much paws balls to the wall type of basketball.
But he's getting the 30 clips that he was getting all season. That's what we need to know, because that's what that team is built off of.
Yeah.
They built for him to be getting them 30 clips, to be getting 15 boards a game.
And everybody else sprinkles in their 15 and 20 points. Yes.
Unless you need, otherwise you need 25 from Maxey, 25 from Harden for it to work. And
well, that's the way they've been winning all season. Somebody steps up and gives them buckets when they need it because they're doubling or tripling Embiid, so somebody's wide open. But Harden is a shell of himself. If Harden could score 27 to 28 points a night, it wouldn't be that serious.
That James Harden is gone. The days of that James Harden, to be honest with you, is gone unless us Knicks fans get the wish of, the coach, Mike D'Antoni, to go to Philadelphia.
Well, if they lose this series, he's definitely got one bag packed for sure.
He's in the running, but like our boy JP said, he don't want to see him nowhere along I-95.
Your man's paying tolls. I'm telling you right now, he's paying tolls.
But next up, we got the game that's going on later today at 8:00. Grizzlies, Warriors. This series is, to me, shockingly tied up. It's shockingly tied up. Repeat that?
Go ahead, Shane. Going to run away with it?
Yeah, I thought Golden State was going to run away with it. I thought Ja Morant wasn't going to be enough.
It's really him.
It is.
He's really him. Like, talking about it, go back to my man's again. He said, if you take young Russ and young D Rose and you get him a consistent 3 shot, you have Ja Morant.
without a leg injury. Yeah,
You
I
feel
can
me?
give you that. I
And
can give you
it's
that.
like he's explosive. He gets to the rack, but he's shooting what, like 30-something% right now from three in the series? That's a problem. 30-40% from a dude who gets to the cup when he wants to.
You know what I say to that though? I'll say to that though. Number one, we should be glad, as we used to call him. He's not Jenga legs. That's what we used to call
Derrick
what's his name?
Rose.
Derrick Rose. We called him Jenga legs.
Damn.
But but I think the way his game is now, it's 5 to 10 years down the line. I think he has the real estate to then be able to develop the three. Once his body type slows up on him a little bit, that's when I think, and along the way, work on that long distance, long range shot till he gets to that point of he can't go 100,000 miles an hour anymore. So I agree with your man. I agree with your man. He's got to develop it. He's got to develop it. But I don't think we should look to consistency for it from him until at least 5 to 7 years down the line. I'll give it that.
So
But being able to shoot 30 to 40%,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Playoff series against the Warriors. We're not talking about this like, yo, I'm right at you. Like, and what he said to step after the game. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun. This kid is not looking at the Warriors like they the Warriors. It's looking like y'all play ball, we play ball.
That's how you should look at it.
Like it's no fear in them kids' hearts, bro. Not
so if you this is what I observed the last two games, right? Look how the Warriors won the first game, right? They barely got that W, right? It was some last second shit. They got it off and they stopped Memphis when they had the ball. So they barely won that game. Minnesota realized this, took what they learned in the first game, applied it to the second game, and won the second game.
What Ja give him? 47?
Yes.
Steph Curry and them a 50 ball, 2 rings Steph Curry and them?
Yes.
Who's guarding the team? Let's talk about that.
So the white coach with the black name, Taylor Jenkins, for the Memphis Grizzlies has figured out something about the Warriors that the Warriors haven't figured out about Memphis yet. He said, look at it. Yo, they barely beat us the first game, right? We got them the second game. There's something he's applying that's making it work. Now, you can say the bullshit was because Draymond got tossed the first game. That changed everything a little bit. Or the second game. Basically, that changed the dynamics of it a little bit. And I think he's going to be suspended for the third game. So that's going to be the real difference maker tonight. But you can't count out Clay. You can't count out Steph. And Jordan Poole is a real dude. Is a real solid dude, bro. I mean, the dude's dropped 31 off the bench.
But
that's crazy.
On defense, they call him for if he dropping 30 and John giving them 40, his points is canceled out. He calling for switches and loving to see Jordan Poole.
Right. You're absolutely right. But if Clay is Clay and then Steph is Steph, then who's stopping them?
Clay, he's not Clay on deep. You know what used to make that team nasty?
Clay on defense. You're right.
Whoever. Clay can't do nothing with Ja. Them knees ain't that no more. The shot's still there. He can
listen. We're gonna say this right now. Nobody's stopping Ja on that team. All right. No matter who's in front of him, Draymond or nobody. He's just one person. But you got to make sure if you're gonna let Ja score his points. But you got to make sure the surrounding pieces don't contribute.
You don't let him score 50 though.
Right. But this is exactly what we talked about when we gave the breakdown of the series last week. It's almost like that Jordan rule of like Jordan's gonna do what he's gonna do. Shut everybody else down.
Right. Don't let Pippen get off. Don't let Horace Grant get off. Don't let Hodges shoot threes wildly. Don't let Steve Kerr go crazy. You gotta be able to shut down the tertiary players.
Desmond Bane ain't no slouch. They got 2 guards that can't play defense. Steph Curry and Jordan Poole can't play no defense. And you got two guards on the other side that can play more defense than them and can both go get a bucket.
I don't know. Can Ja Morant really play defense though? I mean, he's not.
The Warriors game is real simple, but they real good at it. Hit the shooters off the screens. Let them get the wide open shots.
Because they played with each other for so long, they know where they're going to be at. You know what I'm saying? Familiarity breeds confidence. You know what I'm saying?
And if one dude got to guard another dude one-on-one, I think Ja Morant can guard all them two guards. Yes, I do.
I give you that because youth, speed, obviously better knees than Klay Thompson. So, yeah, I'll give you that. But yo, real quick aside off of this, because there was a conversation that was being had during this entire week. I forgot homie's name who injured Gary Payton Jr.
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks. Yeah. He got suspended for today's game. A lot of the quote unquote sports experts and pundits, you know how it's hot take season with them each and every day, and how they change rules in their mind all the fucking time. So a lot of people were of the perception that the league should change that if you injured a player and that player is now out for the whole series, you person who is out for one game should be out
for the series
indefinitely or until the player comes back. Shake, where you at with that? I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that at all. I think that's nonsense. Like, because moves like that, like a flagrant foul is a flagrant foul. But a foul, it is never a foul, I truly believe, to truly injure. It was like the flagrant foul is like, yo, you didn't have to do that foul. We know you intentionally fouled them, and it looks like you intentionally fouled them.
Right.
It's not like you can't lead to intent with that.
Also, the way to beat that is you get your crappiest player on the bench to go out and just go slaughter homeboy, and he's out for the series. Nobody gives a shit.
That's our 90s basketball, TJ. So I feel you. But when you look at that play that Gary Payton Jr. got hurt on too, dude literally just couldn't jump high enough. Was going for the ball, but literally couldn't jump high enough. Still swatted anyway.
It's the same argument with Draymond. Did Draymond deserve to get ejected for that play that he did? Was that a real flagrant too?
Yes, it was.
I didn't see it. I didn't think like that. See, that's where we differ in opinion. But go ahead.
Historic, has a history of being a player like that.
Right.
Dylan Brooks does not.
Right.
I kind of have an issue with that, not your statement, but that statement there, where you as an official are supposed to officiate the game at hand, not take into account 5 years ago you punched a nigga in the face, so you're that guy. You're known as that guy.
No, but your reputation precedes you because you've done it more than 2 or 3 times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, his feet used to love some balls at times. You know what I'm saying? He loves a good nut or two.
But you don't purposely foul people on a consistent basis. You don't get called a dirty player for not doing something on a consistent basis. You get what I'm saying? Like, right. It's not nobody's gonna be looking at Dylan, but it's gonna be like, damn, that was a bad foul. You shouldn't have done that. This player's hurt, whatever. But it's not a thing where it's like he was like, yo, I'm trying to hurt him. It was like, nah, I'm trying to
get Right. So, it's not the Grayson Allen consistently tripping people type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Nuts, like giving them hard fouls in the air, making them fall. It's like, yo, if you pull up film, it's like 20 dudes over the course of the year that have had hard falls just because. Then it's like, all right, you know what? Maybe you might be doing this on purpose. But you want to talk about somebody who's what? Like, this is how it's a bang bang play and it's a hard ass floor, and he fell and he wasn't able to break his fall. He broke something else, and that's what happened. We're not gonna punish a team for a whole game because this guy's body didn't withhold to something. Like, that's not that equates to the fact that.
No, I agree with you on that.
I'm with that. Like, I'll look at it like this, especially for basketball players, because I will say they've gotten softer as far as the fouls and shit. And maybe they need to, like how athletes like to do ballet training, maybe basketball players need to go to the WWE Performance Center and learn how to take bumps, learn how to take
Dan,
flat backs,
Dan,
shit like that.
Dan, I can't tell you how many NBA players I've seen sparring, boxing, doing UFC shit, and then come back, a month later and cry because they got cracked in the rib or some shit like that. I'm like, come on, bro, you was doing this all summer.
Because you got a Lance Stevenson on your face. It's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how basketball fouls, some of them be looking. Like you just got a little somebody's hot breath on your neck, and it's not worse than soccer players by far. Soccer players take the deepest of dives by far. But last series before we get into the heavy hitting topic, which is Shake. If you want to stay with us on this one, we got to go into the Roe versus Wade situation, and we're talking about it from the standpoint of two fathers with all girls. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to rock with us on that, you're more than welcome to.
I got a little time left. I got an event that I'm catering tomorrow for somebody cool. When that comes out, you'll see it. But I gotta get back to doing that. So I may be series.
Yeah, all good. So after this series, then we'll let you give all your socials and all that shit. And thanks for checking in, even though it was my bad on the sneak attack.
please come back again, though. You know,
word.
Definitely.
He already knows. And side note, as I was telling TJ pre-show, we are trying to do a starting five end of regulation live show sometime this year. Once we get that out there, we're going to let everybody know where, what time, how we're going to do it. And it should be popping as usual, as we always do. The TJ knows whenever we put together some shit, even from the days of when I was running hip hop karaoke, whenever we put together some shit, we always have a good time. And it
form like Voltron, baby. You know what I'm saying?
We put the symbol up, and we get our core group of friends that come through all the time. But the spot we're thinking about is a dope spot. I told you about it already. Let's get into these Suns Mavs, who the Mavs decide to want to try to make this a series also. 2-1. They beat the Suns the other night, 103-94. Yeah, where you at with this one, Shay? Because I don't think this is going to be enough for the Mavs.
Yeah.
Unlike the Warriors series, which we might have to change. We might have to change the predictions on that one. We said that might be a 5. That one might go 6 now, but this one, I think this one could be a 5.
I mean, if Luka can't give you 40-point triple doubles for the whole series, the Mavs are going to be, and unless somebody else is going to step up and take over and give Luka some true help, like they got to go through Jalen Brunson just a little bit more. Like, if that's not going to be a thing, this is probably going to be done in 5 or 6. Is it a series that's possible for them to win? Sure. But, there's in certain spots they really miss Porzingis a little bit. I think, his game could help out.
Height-wise or just?
Height, size. And then, I mean, we can't act like he wasn't somebody who could put the ball in the basket. Like, what is the guy? Powell? What's his name? That's his name?
Yeah, Powell.
Who is he? He's not really too crazy. He's not really wilding on 8 or nothing like that. So, like, it's not a situation where, they can take over the series at any point without Luka giving you 35, 40-point triple doubles every night and everybody else is getting you X amount of points. I just think the Suns are just a better basketball team overall.
Word.
Totally, nothing I can add to that because I totally agree. If Luka say if Luka goes down, what next? And the Suns are just way too hot right now.
And like,
if Luka goes down, there'll be a lot of singing and flower bringing. You know what I'm saying?
Situation where Jalen Brunson is just gonna be like, all right, cool. I'm gonna just start cooking Devin Booker. Like Devin Booker can play defense and so can Chris Paul. Like,
Right.
we're not a huge fan of Chris Paul, but like he can definitely guard Jalen Brunson.
But
So,
this is what the series boils down to: Chris Paul's acumen and experience versus Luka Doncic, superstar, and it's proven time and time again. Chris Paul is thinking 5 steps ahead. He's playing chess at this point. He's setting you up every time he goes down court. He's getting 2-for-1s, 3-for-1s. He's putting his guys in the right spot. Your man did a closeout game 14 for 14. Like, and they weren't easy buckets. Like, he's really showing his ass out this in his playoffs. And respect to him, man. Because if you want to see somebody win a ring, that guy right there with his injury history and everything. Chris Paul. Yeah, Chris Paul. What's your hate for Chris Paul, man?
point for
Yo,
wow, you'll never chef Chris Paul's party. I see that right
now. Like, I mean,
there's other NBA players out there.
I would love to get Sam up here and talk basketball with you guys because he's real like he's really tapped in, like he works for Bleacher Report.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, and he definitely is like somebody who I listen to his pod, and I like when I talk basketball, a lot of the things that he puts me in tune with are like things that I didn't really see, and things that like you don't really notice, and how games are won.
Would love to get that dude on, bro.
So one day I'll talk with Sam, and the days where I can you guys are recording, and we'll come on here and talk some ball with y'all. Hopefully before the
season ends, because I'll keep it 1,000 with you. When NFL season comes in, that's when we really go in.
You guys do draft recap?
We did.
Yeah.
And real quick before you run, because I know you gotta go. What did you think about your Falcons draft?
So, all right. So, just full disclosure about the Falcons offseason for me, it's been rough. Since I've been a Falcons fan, like, of course, Mike Vick was the reason I became a Falcons fan, but, like, Matt Ryan is the reason I stayed a Falcons fan. Matt Ryan is like, the definition to me of, like, what you would want at quarterback for your team. Came on the field, walked off, wasn't injury history. Like, took us to a Super Bowl, was MVP caliber, walking 4,200 yards, 27 touchdowns, a few picks, right? We get rid of Matt Ryan. It's not looking real too great. We signed Marcus Mariota, who's a journeyman quarterback, but who also was never really given a full deck of cards to really play with, right? Last year, we got Terry Fontenot we stole him from the Saints. He was the guy who was doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work for the Saints and building their teams. And we took him and made him our general manager. So now he's doing that. Last year, he drafts Kyle Pitts. Okay, cool. We got Pitts this season. Does a lot of off-season work that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily be happy about. Of course, we get rid of Matt Ryan, right? Shit happens with Ridley, so we know he's gone for next season, right? Then what? Brings in Casey Hayward, top 10 corner last season. So now, outside or inside, he can play. I think he's a better inside corner, but he can play outside. AJ Terrell, best corner in the league last year, nobody really talks about. So, like, what?
So they kind of piecemealing it together right now, basically.
Building the team.
Right.
Now the draft comes, and so now, mind you, we were in cap hell. Now, next season, when I tell you we were in cap hell, I don't even remember.
That's because of Ryan's contract, right?
Because of Ryan's and Julio's number that we still had to pay.
Oh, after he got traded.
Right. We went from being at the bottom of the league. Right now, we're 15th in cap space in the league.
That's not bad.
In 2 years, this man has taken us from the bottom of the league in cap space to 15th. And next year, we got like $130 million in cap space.
You know what, though? That Julio trade was key because I didn't see that fall off like that for him, bro. I did not see the fall off like that for him.
Second rounder for Julio, and that he didn't play it down he didn't play at all for them.
Yeah, he barely played.
So
That
we,
was a crucial trade for y'all, bro.
because guess what? You know who that turned into? That turned into either my man's from Penn State or Anderson, who's going to be a cannon. And now who do we draft first round? Drake London. Wasn't a huge fan of Drake London. I wanted
Oh, the wide receiver.
Yeah. I didn't really like, I was looking at his game. I'm not a huge Mike Evans fan. He compares to Mike Evans. So, like, I look at his game and I'm just like, But, like, the more and more I watch film on the kid, he's a solid wide receiver pick. Right now, the offense, as slated, if we put we get maybe one more receiver or something like that. If one of our receivers can start to, like, step up or something like that. We got out Auden Tate from the Bengals, right? So now we got the running back from what is it? Is it Penn State or BYU? One of those all blue schools. I can't remember. Tyler Adler or something like that, who was like top 3 in something from running back. We got him like in the 3rd or 4th round. So they're piecing together a team, and then they went and got Desmond Ridder.
Right.
Who, like, Desmond Ridder was like one of the better quarterbacks, 4-year starter at Cincinnati, who at some point, like, to be able to come in your freshman year, stay all the way to your senior year, be a leader at a college program, have a school like Cincinnati, who nobody really talks about as being a powerhouse school in the conversation for a national championship.
Not for football. Most of you guys in Cincinnati is known for basketball, but yeah.
So having them in the discussion for a national championship and playing the way they haven't had them playing the way they did at Cincinnati, this is not Alabama. This is not school loaded with what people would call like the top tier, cream of the crop, blue chip talent. Still great kids. But you got 2 first round quality guys out of there, but like Ridder didn't go first round because that's not where quarterback was at.
Right.
But you got a guy who can come in here, and I don't necessarily think the job is Mariota's just to have. Like, a lot of people are expecting Mariota to just be the starter, but I genuinely believe this kid's gonna try to compete.
No, Mariota's the buffer.
Yeah.
Mariota's the buffer. And this seat, once again, this ties back to something I talked about on last week's episode, is that when it comes to the quarterback position, especially with this year's draft, right? Everybody was speaking on how one quarterback was drafted in the first round. ESPN was having a fucking conniption fit because one quarterback was drafted in the first round. They had no quarterbacks to talk about because that's all they know what to talk about.
But the class was so weak.
And that's where I was getting to, is that this draft class was so weak in the way of, this was the class of quarterbacks that you draft to be an heir apparent or serviceable backup. Somebody that can ride the bench but learn, and then work their way into a possible starting job elsewhere. Not come out and be the day one starter, i.e., like how I described the Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston draft, where I personally thought those two guys at that time, though Jameis was killing the world, setting the world on fire, winning the national championship, he should have came into the league
stealing crab legs.
And stealing crab legs. He should have came into the league and rode behind somebody for a little while to develop and gain more understanding instead of just being thrown to the fire at first, which the Bucs at the time had no quarterback. So I got it. But this draft class was a developmental quarterback draft class league. So Ridder from Cincinnati, who they also were mentioning was possibly the most pro-ready out of all of them, with the exception of the cat from Liberty.
I wasn't a big Willis fan.
Yeah, I feel you on that, but he could compete in camp. But give Marcus Mariota the season.
Mariota is the okay, cool. If he can't win the job for him, cool. We got somebody we know is still a guy who never got his fair shot and can still compete. And we let this kid sit down and learn the playbook, hold the clipboard, see NFL games, do stuff like that, play in the preseason, get some snaps in, whatever. Mariota goes down or something like that, well, the kid's got to play football. If not, we got a safety net.
Shake, your biggest problem is the division you're in. It's a very tough division. This
I would say the Saints aren't the Saints anymore. Like they got Olave from Ohio State. But who's throwing the ball there?
You got a point there, yeah.
We don't know. Cam Jordan can't play football forever.
You're right.
Yeah,
You know?
well, you got what you guys got is a setup for the future. Just
Yeah,
like how
we got it.
the Jets aren't a right now team. The Jets are also did a hell of a job in this draft, but
Great.
they're
Right.
set up for the future. We
And
can't be looking at them to pop right now.
No.
And that's what's great is like we got a lot of guys where, like I said, next year we're gonna have like 130, 150 mil in cap space to play with in free agency.
And that's where you're gonna make your grab at.
You feel me? So now we got a team where, okay, we got our young quarterback on a cheap contract, which is how you win. You build Super Bowl teams. You build Super Bowl teams not with guys on these long contracts. Those are for like reward contracts. You know, like if they're able to stay long, if you keep your nucleus together right, those guys can stay together. You make sure you keep the guys you know you need to keep and keep retooling. That's why you see like the Patriots, when they get a good guy, they know he's not going to be a part of the longevity. Cool. I'm going to ship him away for a second or so round pick and the cap relief. And now I can continue to rebuild, to continue to build my team, filtering out players.
Plug and play, baby. Plug and play.
That's right. And draft quality.
Exactly. Draft quality, hitting free agency, and don't pay guys who you know are not a part of the long-term piece. Guys like Kyle Pitts, I expect to retire Falcons. I expect Kyle Pitts to have...
He's not a tight end, bro. That dude's a wide receiver, bro, all day.
Bro, he's a tight end.
But in the league and in today's league, when you got a tight end size body and DK Metcalf who saying he could beat the cheetah in a race, like, yeah, you turn a guy like that into a wideout, or you play him. You could play him.
Play Kelsey and Waller because he's more athletic than both of them.
Okay.
Yes.
So like that's what I mean. Where it's like you get a quarterback that's going to make him his best friend and understand we're not going through the outside. We're going inside out. We're not going outside in.
But here's the thing. And yes, inside out is usually always the way football should be played, especially with the run game and everything. But he might be more athletic. He ain't a better blocker than who you mentioned.
Either one of those guys.
But he can become that. You got to remember, this kid hasn't put on weight yet.
He has to want it, though. He has to want to do it, though. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference in him becoming it and him wanting to do it. That's a huge difference.
He's one of those guys.
Look, Gronk ain't the most athletic dude on the planet at all.
Set the rookie tight end record almost passed. What's his name?
You know who he reminds me of? A great tight end that you had on that team, Tony Gonzalez.
Who?
Pitts. Yeah.
You're going that far?
Faster.
He's faster, yes, but Gonzalez caught everything, and he was a blocking tight end.
Bro, if he can, all he has to do is get his block. He has to get his blocking together, and then this is prevalent on blocking. Arthur Smith and the line coaches are going to get him together. They're going to get him together.
Well, for your sake,
of like Arthur Smith comes from that zone blocking tree, that Shanahan fucking style thing where everything.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
So it's just
make
like
Terrell Davis famous.
You know, so it's like, okay, cool. Now we got a run game. Like this team could not have been built with Matt Ryan. It's the team Matt Ryan would have loved to have. Matt Ryan deserved the team, but they could not afford it because Thomas Dimitroff, who should never see another NFL office job ever again, like literally just was signing, like doing the most ridiculous contracts. The fact that we are where we are is, as far as cap space right now, is a testament to how good this like Terry guy is, because we should not be able to make any maneuvers. We still have guys that we're getting ready to trade and offload contracts still. Like I don't think Deion Jones, like Deion Jones is a Falcon by the end of next season. If he's gone, I think he's gone this season because the linebacker room just got real crowded.
There you go.
And he's not traditionally a 3-4 linebacker. He's a 4-3 attack style linebacker who was with Dan Quinn, and we run a 3-4 now.
You know, so, and you'll get somebody for him too. That's an interesting trade piece for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for the Cowboys to send us whatever we ask.
and number one thing on this show is
but the Dallas Falcons.
Yeah, you know what I say. Number one thing is we invite Cowboys fans on here all the time, just like we invite everybody, but we love their demise.
Bro, the Dallas Falcons on defense right now. Y'all got nothing but y'all let Keanu Neal move back to safety. You got KZ. That's my old backfield. You're going to come get Deion Jones in a minute. You thought you was getting Grady Jarrett. Y'all just knew y'all was getting ready to get Grady Jarrett. That ain't happening.
Listen, that's the same way I feel about the Dallas Mavericks. They're the New York Knicks West. You know what I'm saying? They got damn near every player from the Knicks had. And, you know, when you don't make it there, you just go to Dallas because we'll pick up your contract and we'll take you in a trade. So
I can afford it, and my staff is better than the Knicks staff, and that's why I'll be able to do it.
Pretty much. That kind of sums it all up. It's just, hey, we run a better office over here. Bet I'll sign. And that's it. But I know you got to run, Cuzzo. Love as always.
Nice meeting you, sir.
Absolutely, yes, man. Appreciate you guys for having me. This is really cool. I don't know.
No more sabotages. No more backstage passes for you. No more backstage passes for you, bro.
What you call it? What is it? Socials. You can catch us on Twitter, like I said, at End of Regulation with a 0 for the O. It's at End of Regulation Pod on Instagram, and you can find us the End of Regulation Podcast on everywhere you can find podcasts. So appreciate you guys for having me, and I hope to do some stuff with you guys real soon.
Soon. All right, cuz, peace. I'll see you. We'll talk soon. Yes, sir. That was impromptu. Like I said, when he said, "Yo, shoot the link," I shot him the be on the show link first. I wasn't sure. He didn't clarify. I shot him that one first. And then literally when I seen him pop up, I had sent the YouTube link. And then he popped up on the joint. I was like, oh, well.
It worked out anyway. It worked out.
Word up, man. But yeah, that was dope conversation with the cuz, he's the younger cuz, and it's not the gap. He said the gap isn't that far. I'm 42. I think he just turned 28 or 29.
No, that's not that bad.
Yeah, so he's young.
He's like a younger brother.
Yeah, and I got to get to know the cuz more. Obviously I got to get around the family more as we get older and stuff, because to be honest, my first cousins, he's more like second cousin. His father and my father are first cousins.
Okay.
And so I would be actually closer towards his father. You know what I'm saying? Which also too, we talked about I told them which announcements, y'all. We are going to be at Philly Cigar Week this year. Once again, the Start Five Podcast is back at Philly Cigar Week. We're going to have the owner of Philly Cigar Week, John, come back on like he did last year. We're going to check in with the homie Chalk Belafonte to get him back on also. We just might be the official podcast of Philly Cigar Week, but we'll get that definition. Louder. We'll get that definition once we get there, y'all. But yeah, we're going to be in Philadelphia the weekend of June 18th.
All our Philly heads, please come out. Please come
out. Yes. We're going to
JP, Aaron, I think Chris Millen is out there too.
Yep.
Chris, come out, bro. I mean, we
Phil
love you.
Phil Washington, you're a fellow cigar head and live in the area, so please come out.
All your fellas come out.
We're going to be at Xfinity Live during the happy hour, doing a live podcast in there. We might do some like roving camera stuff too for the YouTube, but we're going to be down there Philly Cigar Week for sure. I forgot why I led into that. What did I start off with, TJ? I forgot.
No, because you just said it was an announcement that we might.
Oh, yeah. And telling cuz yesterday, because we spoke on the phone yesterday, his man Bert, who's one of his co-hosts on the show, is a big cigar head too. So he's gonna let him know. And the regulation might come down there and kick it with us also.
That's lovely.
We got more work
time, and it's a great event. I mean, everybody, it's just a real cool social event for everybody.
That's pretty much exactly what it is with cigars and alcohol.
Yep. And good music. good music.
Yes. Some pretty good DJs and shit out there too. But TJ, it's time to get into the hard topic.
Gotta
It's time to
fix my
get
shirt. You know what I'm saying?
it's time to get into the tough topic of Roe versus Wade. Now, everybody kind of knows what Roe versus Wade is. This is one of them things that actually was taught in our American history classes in school. It was a case that happened back in 72 where it just pretty quick summarize. It was found unconstitutional for the state of Texas to hold the right for this woman to get an abortion due to medical ailments that she had. They felt it unconstitutional for her to not be able to get one. That's the brief. Y'all can look up more on yourself to get a more accurate definition. That's if y'all don't remember it from school. But recently there was a leak that came out, and while we was talking earlier, it was John Roberts. He was the person responsible for the leaking of this because he felt that the ruling was foolish. Now, to keep it funky with y'all, it's the vote. They kind of voted to strike it down, but right now it's initially in a draft opinion. So it's not official yet. But knowing the way that this right-leaning Supreme Court is set up, it's probably going to go through. And if you saw that cover image, which is on the back behind us, we didn't post it on socials yet, but we're going to post it once the show is up. Judge Alito is the asshole responsible for this. He feels that the responsibility of trying cases like these should not be in the hands of the federal government. He believes that this should be in the hands of state by state basis. And the way that this thing has been going, we already seen the root of it happening in Texas. We've talked about it here on the show when Texas made its ruling of if you are a person who gave somebody a ride across state lines to get an abortion, i.e. to say you're saving a woman's life, possibly, right? You, the driver, can now go to jail and get arrested for doing so.
And get sued
from the state of Texas. And get sued from the state of Texas. Because they feel that, women shouldn't have no rights over their bodies. And the reason why, to answer the question of the reason why I felt, besides the fact that we talk about the tough topics on here all the time, TJ, we have the conversations that others don't want to have. We, as fathers of daughters, I personally felt this was important because, here's the answer, it's as simple as I don't believe the government should have the right to tell any woman what they can and can't do with their bodies. What they can and can't do with their bodies. And I'll reveal to some of y'all, because only the candid few, my wife knows, even my parents don't know. I was a person who, with my ex, had to go through the abortion process. Okay? I went through it because the health conditions of my ex at the time, the potential of her not being able to carry full term was high. Very high. So this is why, and as my family walks out the house right now, I'm with a whole family full of women. I don't want the government to ever have the right to have a say-so. And luckily, fortunately, we live in New York, where in New York, I forgot who is the what's her name? Letitia James. Letitia James, I'm sorry.
The Attorney General.
Yes, Attorney General. Thank you. Letitia James wants to, she said this on the news the other day, she wants to start a fund to help support women who have to cross state lines to get abortions, because women should have the right to dictate what they do over their bodies, especially in the case of, we can look up the regular basic stuff, TJ, rape situations, incest incest, molest situations, all those types of situations, and even more importantly, when your body physically might not be able to carry
Handle
said
handle a
baby
pregnancy.
full
Yeah,
term, and you may lose the baby regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like, this option should be a no fucking brainer to allow this, but this is America.
bro.
We live under the rule of crusty old white men who feel the sense of control. Now, there's other things that we're going to add into this conversation later, and we're going to talk maybe about who this affects, who this really affects,
hmm
and other different angles. TJ,
Here's what really bothers me: the hypocrisy of the conservative party, right? Where we've been dealing with this vaccine shit for how long? And telling people, yo, the government has no right to enforce us getting the vaccination. I'm not taking no jab. This is my body. You don't have to. I'm not taking any kind of needle to my body. It's not tested, this, that, and the third. But we can turn around and say that the same ideals and principles overruling a woman's body for her to choose the right to have or not have an abortion. It doesn't make sense.
it doesn't.
It
Beyond
doesn't make
hypocritical.
sense. It doesn't make sense. On top of that, all these Christians yelling, you're murdering a baby, you're murdering the fetus, this, that, and the third. How many people are adopting kids that are against abortion? Where's
That
those numbers at?
TJ,
Where's those numbers at?
real quick, that point right there. The same hypocrites are the ones who, again, no abortions, no abortion. You lay down, you have the baby. But then when it's a situation where the mother and or family cannot keep the baby, they cannot maintain and actually live and manage with having a child, right? You're not going to take them in. Plus, number two, then you're going to turn and complain about people living off the system.
Wait a minute. I was just getting into that because now you blaming people that are coming up living off the government dollar, right? Welfare, all this food stamps, all this health care. That's a problem. Also, if you're going this hard for not women to have abortion, where's the other side for the contraceptives? Where's the money pouring into contraception and health education on not having it? Abstinence does not work. We already know this. You can't control two people's emotions in the heat of the moment. Abstinence does not work. You know what works? A rubber, a condom, the pill.
And even those aren't 100%.
Not 100%, but it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. What are we talking about here? You're so hypocritical about God and rights and feelings, but you're not doing nothing to solve the problem.
It's all this. It's all just
It pisses me off to no end, bro. Like, you can't say this on one hand and not do this on the other hand and then turn around and point the finger back at that people. What are you talking about? Yep. What are you talking about, bro?
Exactly.
It's all bullshit, bro. It's all bullshit.
It is. Now, a lot of the debate is behind the term limits of how many weeks before you can. Like, I believe in Texas's thing, they put it into effect 6 weeks.
You don't even know you're pregnant at 6 weeks, bro.
Exactly. And then when you talked about them in their quote unquote good book, that to me is respect to all people and their religious beliefs and whatever you choose to believe in. My wife's family, Pentecostal Christians. Does my mother-in-law believe in pro-life? Absolutely. But I'm sure if I had the conversation with her, it's still gonna be, you might have to do what you're gonna do. I personally may not agree with it, and it's not my body.
Ask her how many kids she's adopting.
No. There's no disrespect to my mother-in-law in that way because she has her own children.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
She has her own children.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's not against. I bring her up as a good person because like she may not agree with it, but she also can fall back and say, you're gonna do what you're gonna do for your life. I
Okay.
don't have to agree with it. And
Okay.
that's what it is. It's like, who are you to tell? I get laws in certain cases, but who are you to tell the next person what they should and shouldn't do with their bodies? Like, one of the conversations that people were actually trying to make within this, TJ, is, so let's do this, since this ain't a thing. Let's give kids by the age of 16 or whatever. Let's give like, give the boys vasectomies and tie the tubes of girls, and
Oh, I
then
saw
and,
that
and
ridiculous
then
ass statement.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then when they get older, they can make the decision to open it up. It doesn't work that way. Vasectomies aren't permanent, but vasectomies also doesn't guarantee that it'll work once it's reversed. And tube tying, forget it. It makes it even harder. It makes it even harder. So
That's such a ridiculous statement, bro. I mean, the percentages of women who have kids after they 2 times are in like the single digits, bro. It's not even. It's not worth talking about.
it's ridiculous, TJ. It's just, and behind all of this is just, we're seeing so much hypocrisy, so much hate, so much. It's crazy, the disdain for women from people who claim that they're not gay, from people who claim that they love women, and all of this other nonsense. But the disdain for women to just be able to have one basic right to be able to say what they can do with their bodies is asinine. Like, I'm not gonna play the TikTok because I'd have to dig for it. But there was this one young woman on TikTok that I follow, not young like that. She's like, I think she's a 28, 29 years old. Entertaining channel, but she was telling a story talking about this situation, why it's fucked up, but how having an abortion had helped her. Living in LA, her and her partner was poor. They used contraception. The contraception failed them. They were trying to gain jobs while trying to pursue their dreams at the time, but was still living poor.
Some people are just not ready, bro. You're
But
just
it's
not ready.
that's another aspect of it. But in some cases, mistakes happen.
Right.
And that's the point of that story, is some cases mistakes happen, and you are not feasible to have a child. So you're gonna tell this girl, say, I doubt the state of California ain't gonna reverse this shit, but
No,
imagine if it was the state of California, they reverse it.
dude.
You can't do it past certain date or whatever, certain time or whatever. And now, pretty much, let's look at it like this: you're bringing it
Dude, it's
before,
not even that. You know what these assholes are gonna say? Don't have sex.
yes,
Don't.
and that's the point. Thank you for that, because that's what I was trying to bring up with the whole Bible thumper mentality. Like you mentioned, abstinence don't work.
It don't work. It never worked. It never worked.
It don't work.
You can go back to the Bible of Adam and Eve. That shit didn't work. It was the first people. It didn't work.
And Adam and Eve is incest technically if they're the first people, but I'm not gonna go in on that.
It doesn't
I'm
work.
sorry.
You want to talk about
Mary had to have
incest?
slept with somebody, but I'm not going in on that.
We're not going to talk about that. That's another rabbit hole. That's another rabbit hole.
My wife just gave me this look like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, is just, it doesn't make sense, man. And these people are pushing an agenda. This is all it is. It's agenda driven with no solution or no recourse for the actions that are taking place. Period.
Right. And that's the thing deeper behind it. It really applies to when you look more into it, and it's the government wanting to relinquish the ability to rule over this. But and a lot of these states, it's about the term. It's more about not just ending it as a whole. It's more about the term limits to which the woman can carry the child.
Dan, you seen
That's
the map?
what it's more about.
You seen the map? It's the East and West Coast that allows abortions and all good, and it's the entire middle of the flyover states, all the middle states that got an issue with it.
Where cousins fuck
seen the map.
cousins. And also let's look at the demographic of said middle of the country along with the South and why they would want to do this. one of the major conversations behind this is, as a shout out to another TikToker, he mentioned a form of eugenics in a way, but against the white culture.
You mean the great brownout that's coming?
Right. Because the time is ticking. They said by 2035, 10, 20 years ago, 2035, 2045, this country is going to be predominantly mixed race and Hispanic.
Yep.
And I think, which I kind of agree with a lot of the statements and notions being made behind this, that this is coming from these crusty, dusty old white men who are in power legally of these states, because the major numbers of who's truly going to get abortions is white women.
Dude, you've seen all the commercials. It's always mixed race couples. 90% of these commercials nowadays is mixed Asian, black, white, Hispanic. It's never the same race anymore. It's always mixed couples. It's already being pre-programmed that this is going to happen.
Which people hate seeing mixed couples on TV, but that's a you problem. That ain't a me problem.
Ain't my problem.
It definitely ain't. But that's but that's one of the arguments, though, that people are really making behind this, is because white women are the ones of the highest numbers and highest percentages who are going to get said abortion.
Abortions, yes.
And like, describe the video that you tagged me in earlier too.
Oh, so there was a video from a TikToker earlier stating that he worked at an abortion clinic and he had to be there between 6 and 6:30 to start his shift. And he was hanging out late, and he said, instead of going home, I'm just going to sleep in the parking lot so I can show up to work on time. And to his surprise, when he got there was a bunch of black cars lined up. Not, regular cars. These were cars with drivers, Ubers, whatever you want to call them, chauffeurs, limousines, that meant of that such. And guess who was all in these cars? Rich white women getting abortions. Now, we don't want to go into the fact of how many politicians' daughters had abortions. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Nope.
Just like they don't want to talk about their gay family members or they drunk molesting uncles or whatever the fuck they got going on. They fucked up hammering.
They could talk about Hunter Biden, but they could talk about Hunter Biden though.
Right. But you reflect the mirror back on them. They got fucked up family members. It's just it happens. It happens. But yes, the rich elite white folks are getting abortions because they're having these young teenage kids out here partying, going to spring break, getting high, doing whatever the fuck they want to do, and then they find out they're pregnant. From who? You can't even name the dude you got pregnant from. Nuh-uh, we ain't having that. We going right to the clinic, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30 in the morning, before anybody else shows up. And they paying top dollar for it.
Because they could afford it.
Right. And it's getting done. But nobody's talking about that shit. Nobody's bringing that up. And God forbid you bring it up from one politician to another. Whew.
Right. And that's the problem is the politician. And that goes to, it kind of speaks to why you should vote and why you should look into.
You could even look at the
politicians are.
You can even look at the politicians who cheated on their wives and got a mistress or a side chick pregnant and made these chicks have an abortion. That's easy to look up right now. That's easy to look up.
One could only imagine how many your former president Donald Trump had.
They don't see that though.
Nope.
They don't see. Look, I saw a video the other day that was like Obama's sus. And I was like, yeah, but Obama's never had any sexual allegation charges against him for sexual harassment. But you don't find that suspect? And they was like, well, listen, the hypocrisy is real, Reed. The double standard is real.
Right. And that's the large issue in it. Like I said, the problem that I had within it is because, again, my children are young. My children are, though you could say a 14-year-old is of sexual activity, sexual active nature, not my daughter. Not my daughter.
Mine wasn't.
Yeah. And your daughter's out there in the world killing it right now. You know what I'm saying? Your daughter's doing amazing stuff in the world
Thank
right
you.
now. I'm trying to not breed, bad choice of words. Bad choice of words. I am trying, we are trying
Develop,
to,
grow,
yes, to develop,
nurture,
grow, and
nurture,
guide
nurture,
our
guide.
children
Yes.
down a good path.
Right.
You know,
And that's
it's
all you can ask for. That's
and
all you
that's
can
it.
do, and that's all you can ask for, bro.
That's it.
Nothing more.
Now, if they end up in said situation, I I'm open. Like I mentioned, my wife is a Pentecostal Christian. She maybe may view it differently than me. To me, I'm going to view it. What do you think is the best thing to happen for you? I'm going to have the conversation with the child, with my child, and ask them what is going to be best for
But you know
you.
what, Dan? You know what? And this is key. You communicate with your kids.
Yes.
You talk to your girls. I talk to my daughter. Like, this is so underrated. Like, people, a lot of these adults, or so-called adults, don't talk to their children, or
Yeah.
made the situation so bad that their children can't even talk to them or
My
open up to them in
my
that
wife
way.
has my wife has these some types of conversations like these with my oldest child already. You know,
Right.
she's taught my oldest child about her period, about developing, about all of that before she started it. Because, like you just said, it is super important to have these pieces of dialogue with our children.
You can't wait to have it, or wait for it to happen. You need to start early.
Right.
As long as they understand and comprehend what you're saying, and that's the key word right there, comprehend what you're saying, then you can have those conversations and build a better person as an adult.
And the other key word is early. Because
Right.
in America, once again, we're thinking Bible thumping, we're thinking abstain until you're married. They're thinking abstain until you're married and all of that nonsense. They're thinking that. But in the real world, if you quote unquote want to say in the hood, where they assume that black folks and Hispanics and Latinos are just out fucking wild for the night at any old age, which isn't really happening that way, where they assume quote unquote welfare queens and all that stuff are the ones going there to get the abortions. What they assume when they're not going to look at the numbers, that it's their own people doing this shit. But they also assume that kids aren't going to get this stuff at a young age. A kid can learn anything at a young age.
Listen, the shit they talk about on the school bus, you would blow your mind, bro.
And we were all there. We were all,
But
shit, for instance, real quick before your butt, pause, but
yeah,
before your butt, let's think about how most of these people probably came up in private and Catholic schools. Let's think about how many of them came up in all boys schools, right? To where we know for the most part, most Catholic school kids, most all boys school kids that are separated from the opposite sex, as soon as they get together, what's the first thing they want to try to do? But yet, do they learn much about that? No. They tend to wait. Now, I had sex education in school, in elementary school. I believe it didn't start till the 3rd grade.
and
I
here's
personally
where
think that we need to start teaching from younger, so kids know their anatomy from younger better. Like shout outs to my cousin Shake again. His man Lowe said it on the End of Regulation podcast about 2 or 3 episodes ago. Kids need to learn about their quote unquote no spots at a younger age.
yes.
They need to learn about this stuff at a younger age.
And here's where I was going with this. There's too much responsibility put on the teacher to tell these kids what the adult or the parent is supposed to be teaching them. They're not going to school for life lessons. They're not going to school to learn all these intimate conversations. You are not paying a teacher for this type of work. This needs to be done in-house by a parent or a guardian, somebody they trust, that they hold in high regard. But we leave this all falling back on the education system, and it's failing. And then you want to blame the teachers for this. Is a whole nother issue on top of that. I'm sorry to go down a rabbit hole in this, but this is a whole nother issue. You're wanting somebody else to teach your kid something that you should be teaching your kid first and foremost.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. It's real like that. Like it should be in the home first. It should be in the home first, and I
Your kid
totally
shouldn't
agree.
be picking it up from another kid out in the street or from overheard conversation or a guidance counselor or a school counselor. They shouldn't be learning it from this. They should be learning this from you because you're their parent. This is the person that they see every day on a daily basis and deal
Yep.
with the most intimately.
Yep. So it more converse and see, but again, when you think about the parenting level of this thing, that's where the issue sets in because you have the parents that are just, oh no, I don't want to talk about that. No,
It's
Jimmy,
taboo.
no,
Yeah,
don't touch. It's taboo. No, like not. This is where progressive parenting needs to come into play. Even if you're a conservative parent, you want to be a conservative parent. It's just like how I know I've spoke about on this show before. I was a kid that I took no as the answer, but I ultimately grew up to be no is not good enough. Explain to me
no,
why. Talk to me
right.
about why. I need to learn why. Not just don't do it just because I'm telling you. Don't know. Don't that
That
doesn't
doesn't
work
work. That
anymore.
doesn't
It's
work.
especially with these little badass kids now that just talk back to any old person any
Listen,
kind of way.
listen. You want your kid finding out shit? I mean, they got everything in their palm of their hand. Internet is undefeated. The internet is undefeated. You wanted your kid to find out all the wrong ways to find out information? Well, there you have it. You want to know why
Exactly.
they out there wilding out doing crazy shit? Because they seen it somewhere. They seen it on a YouTube post. They seen it on a TikTok. Some shit that caught viral. And then you want to understand where it's getting from? Because you didn't step in and regulate this shit when you needed to. You didn't monitor what they were watching. You didn't take the time and effort to control the narrative. And that's the bottom line. You didn't take time to control the narrative for the path you want your child down. So now your child's out there wilding out, crazy, doing whatever the fuck they think is normal.
And then the answer is I don't know why. I don't understand it. I don't know where he got it from. We never taught him that. It's literally what did you teach your child?
You didn't teach your child shit.
Other than no, no, because I said so. No, because I
You know what
said
you
so.
did? You
That's
taught your
not good
child
enough.
to find the shit out for himself. That's what you
Pretty,
taught him.
pretty much.
And that was the
Pretty much.
fucked up way of doing it. That was the most fucked up way of doing it.
Pretty much.
That's what
Yeah.
you taught your child.
And like something you said before to kind of lead and to wrap this up because this was I knew we was gonna get aggressive. We again, I personally feel whether y'all see it or not, I personally feel us as fathers of daughters, we have the total right to get aggressive about something like this because I don't believe the government should be able to tell my child what to do with their body. You know what I'm saying? Like just example, say for instance, my daughter does decide to go to school in one of these funky ass states, which my daughter did say she wants to go to college. So say she goes away to one of these funky ass states
Don't
that
go to
has this law into
BYU.
effect.
Don't go to BYU in
Well, yeah,
Utah.
yeah, yeah. Forget that. Forget that. Somebody will try to make my child their third wife and shit. But but and accidents happen, slip up, things happen. You know what I'm saying? What if my child has a path that she wants to take that a child that early isn't involved? I want her to have whatever option she chooses.
You want her to have the best opportunities available to her at any time, bro.
100%.
No
And
matter
I
what it is.
and I believe you want the same for your child.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if it comes down to something like that, and like you said, accidents happen, you got caught up in a moment, what have you? We've all been there. We've all been there. We've all had a close call or been down there like, ooh, I'm glad I dodged that bullet. You can't tell me nobody's not been down that path.
I described mine to the public just now.
So, if you really want to be proactive and take a hold, not only of your child, other people's kids, like you said, it could be anything, incest, rape, molestation, all this shit. It covers it's a very broad spectrum. You can't rein it in and just use it as one universal thing. It's not universal. Each person, each individual is different. It's an individual case by case situation every single fucking time. Period. Period. Yep. And whatever that person's reason is that person's reason. It's not my business. It's not your business. It's not the government's business. It's not anybody's business but her and the person she's dealing with. Period. That's it.
That's it. That's it. And the ability of, because you can't afford it, shouldn't be a thing.
Shouldn't exist.
It just like the healthcare system. The ability, and these are the same people who would rather pay for private because they might be able to afford it. But the people who can't afford it, oh, well, good luck. You should have made better choices. That's not the answer. That's the simple ass answer. Well, you should have made better choices. But I said before, accidents happen. You could walk down. I could walk down the steps right now, break my ankle. You're gonna tell me, well, I should have walked down the steps sideways. I should have went backwards.
You should have made better steps, Dan.
Right. Exactly.
You gotta blame the steps. It's not you. It's the steps. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
They're all gonna. They're always gonna find an excuse, and where it fits it. The whole shit. We use this shit every fucking podcast. Moving of the goalposts. That's all it is. Yep. We use this term so much, it's ad nauseum at this point. Moving the goalposts to make the narrative fit what you want to hear. And that's it.
What they're doing. Yep.
That's it.
But one of the things we mentioned, because we talked about education, we talked about the each one teach one aspect of this shit. This is also too, like I said, even though, we, especially New York City area kids, we all got sex education in class, unless your parent chose to opt you out of it. Hence why we said you better teach them better at home. But it's just another flaw to the educational system. Just like this video that I'm going to close the show out with.
Dan, real quick. The kid who got left out always found out what the fuck everybody was talking about because he was in the class later.
Facts. It was mom. They told me about this.
Just put me in on the details.
We'll put you in sex education in the 5th grade, but 3rd grade not right now. But you want proof that the educational system is failing us? I don't know where this thing came from. I stitched myself on it, but listen to this dude.
Emmett Till to Google me first. Well, tell Emmett Till to Google me first.
Did he really say that?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why other countries laugh at Americans and think we're stupid.
Well, tell Emmett Till to Google me first.
I let it play again so you could hear what he said. I didn't dig back to find the context in that on why he said that, but he was like, Emmett Till, and he said, tell Emmett Till to Google me first. Like I said on that video, it's people like that why other countries laugh at us.
It truly takes a village, and that boy needs help, bro. I'm done. I
wanted to real quick. Yeah, we're done. But I did want to read Ed's comments, and I apologize we're going long. 2 things with this Roe versus Wade reversal, of course. If they are willing to roll back Roe versus Wade, what is stop these folks? He probably meant to say, what is to stop these folks from taking away my right to vote as a first generation American who came from parents who were originally here illegally? Through that possibility in the ether. Number 2, roll back voting rights ruled on by previous SCOTUS
SCOTUS judges, Supreme Court of Justice.
There you go. Judges on voting rights of African Americans and women. That is the slippery slope precedent set by rolling back women's reproductive rights. Also, this Roe versus Wade reversal has made abortions are a privileged rich right. The women most impacted are are poor women, the ones that can't afford to leave the state to travel to Los Angeles and New York City for a personal medical procedure. And that's exactly what it is. He says this notion of, well, they can leave the state. It's is such a privileged mentality. The average person can't pick up and just leave for the procedure, find a place to recover, find affordable Medicare for the procedure, make the appointment, etc. It's such a disingenuous talking point coming from men mostly. Not us men, but them men. I
Yeah,
say that shows a lack of understanding the medical issue that women have to think about on a regular basis.
absolutely.
Yeah, couldn't have been said better than he added in. Donald Trump smashed escorts raw dog. He paid for a procedure of 5. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, TJ, I mean, I think we kind of justified why us as parents of daughters should be
Yes.
pissed off with this.
Yes.
I
Solidly and wholeheartedly.
for real. For real. This is fucked up. But now the judge situation, you know, we don't have no say so as an American people in that. I
Nope.
think I personally think that forever position is a problem. I think that should change at minimum every decade.
Well, this was leaked for a reason. This was
100%.
leaked. This was leaked for a reason, bro. And they were trying to slide this shit through on some sneak shit, and now it's out there on Broadway. You know what I'm saying? For everybody to see.
Yep. But
And heads are rolling for that shit.
the problem within that is we as a people have no say so in their decision.
Yeah, we have no power in that. Right.
But where we do have the say so, once again, people, whether you believe in voting or not, I can be 50-50 on it sometimes. This is where the importance of paying attention to who's locally, paying attention to who's in your state government to represent what your thoughts are, to represent what your ideals are. Now, we know the fuckery behind that. You can't trust these politicians. We just had a politician in New York get stepped down as the lieutenant governor because the motherfucker was stealing campaign funds. Yet he was, quote unquote, a left-leaning guy, Democrat guy. You can't trust these motherfuckers, but you got to put in the work on your own to educate yourself to who you are putting in office to stop these type of things from happening in your state.
Local and midterm elections count. Period.
Yeah. It's just a matter of, do you choose to believe in the process or not? But understand that when the process is all said and done, unless you happen to be a certified Moor who's a sovereign citizen, you, my friend, are unfortunately subjected to the laws of the unfortunate land that
The
we live
laws
in.
of the land. Yes, sir.
With that being said, TJ, this was excellent.
This was dope.
The fire that you let out today was warranted. Let them know what the let them know what the deal is.
Yo, like I said, hit the barcode up there, QR code. Find us on all streaming places where you can stream podcasts. Hit the link tree. Shout out to everyone in the comments. Shout out to Dan. Shout out to your cousin Shake getting on for a few minutes here and sharing his podcast and his story. Really appreciate it. Yo, this was dope. We're gonna continue to have more conversations like this. Wish we could get a female perspective on it and how ladies step up. Ladies step up. We love you on here. We love everybody. We try to get everybody and anybody on here at all times. It's an open door invitation. Exactly. Just hit me up, hit Dan up, hit Jamal up, hit John Qatar, hit anybody up. We'll send the link. We'll send the link.
Mm-hmm. And once again, too, even if it's perspectives that we may not agree with, we're not afraid to have said conversations. We're not going to be a cell of like-mindedness. We've mentioned this weekly on this show, damn near. We love alternate perspectives. We love to have other people,
because we just don't see it. We don't see it.
It would have been dope to have had somebody who was for all of this, to have the argument back and forth. Would we have ended at a solution of agreement? Probably not. But guess what? It also educates us in further understanding that other side's thinking.
Train of thought. That's all.
And it's a part of when people say we need to have the conversation. You actually have to be open to having a conversation. You can't go into conversations closed-minded where it's my way or the highway.
Well, you can't. Yeah, you can't go into the conversation with everybody already agreeing on the same shit. Then it's not a
There's
conversation.
no conversation. You're
It's a
circle
party and shit. Yeah.
jerking. You're fucking circle jerking, and
Yeah.
that don't get you nowhere other than a rally. Yeah, we can go with teaching torches because we all believe the same shit. Burn
Right.
this motherfucker down. January 6th, that's what happened. But I digress. Hit that QR code. Follow on the TikToks. We are. I always say we, even though I'm the main creator on it. But we are 94 people away from hitting that 1,000 mark.
Ooh, let's go.
So I could start doing some more pre-show talks about what our upcoming topics are on the TikTok platform. Yo, TJ, the freaking numbers jumped from 630 like last weekend to the 906 today.
That's dope.
All because of about 2 or 3 videos.
That's dope.
So we're trying to get up there so we can increase the viewership through TikTok to bring more people over here. So with that being said, please go follow. We'll see you next week. Back on Sunday.
Peace.